Did you know that more than 30% of the elderly suffer falls throughout the year, and in a large part of these cases, the main cause is the loss of strength in the legs? It's an alarming fact, but even more worrying is the fact that often this muscle weakness doesn't come from age itself, but from something that seems harmless and even healthy: the continuous use of certain vitamins. Yes, those colorful capsules that promise more health, more energy, more vitality, may actually be undermining your physical strength and compromising your autonomy. It seems absurd, doesn't it? But calm down, you'll understand everything properly throughout this video. Let me ask you something. Have you noticed that your legs no longer have the same firmness as before? That, even trying to eat well, take your walks, maintain your routine, you still feel like you're losing strength? If so, know that you're not alone. Many people feel this, and it's not a lack of effort. It's not laziness. It's not carelessness. The truth is that there's something hidden behind this loss of strength, something that many people don't even imagine. And it may be right there in your medicine cabinet. The truth is that, over time, we come to rely too much on pills and supplements. After all, it's natural to want to feel better, with more energy and health. But not everything that seems to help is actually doing good. Some vitamins, when consumed without proper guidance or in excess, can generate imbalances in the body and weaken the muscles, especially those in the legs. And since the legs are responsible for supporting us, moving us, ensuring our independence, any impairment there has a direct impact on our quality of life. Leg strength is essential for daily life. We only realize how important it is when we start to miss it. It is the strength in the legs that allows you to get out of bed effortlessly, climb stairs with confidence, walk in the market without support, and get up from a chair without fear of falling. When that strength begins to disappear, freedom, independence, and even the joy of doing simple things go away with it. And that's what happened to Mrs. Rose. She is 72 years old and has always been active. One of those ladies you meet early at the market, carrying bags, chatting with neighbors, tending to the garden. She has always liked to stay well informed about health. She read everything she could find, watched programs and videos, and took her vitamins with discipline. After all, she just wanted to take care of herself. But, little by little, she began to notice something strange. Climbing stairs was no longer so easy. She felt her legs trembling as if they had no strength. The late afternoon walk became shorter. Sometimes she needed to lean on walls or furniture to feel secure. At first, she thought it was just fatigue. Then she thought it could be her age. But over time, things got worse. One day she tried to get up from the living room chair and almost fell. Luckily, her son was nearby. He became worried and took his mother for a consultation with a geriatrician. And that's when the surprise came. Mrs. Rose had an excess of certain vitamins in her body, which were interfering with the absorption of other essential nutrients for her muscles. In other words, she was unknowingly sabotaging her own strength. And look, she wasn't taking anything excessive. They were well-known vitamins, sold over the counter that everyone says are good for you. But her body didn't need that. Or rather, it needed other things that were being blocked by that excess. The doctor explained that the body works like a mechanism. If you tamper with one part without understanding how all the parts are connected, you can cause a chain reaction problem. And that's what happened. This is a case that represents many others. There are many people going through this right now, at this very moment, without understanding the reason for the weakness, the insecurity when walking, the lack of balance. Sometimes the person starts to avoid leaving home, is afraid of falling, stops participating in family gatherings, stops going for walks, stops living. And all of this because they believe they are taking care of themselves, when in reality, they are making a silent mistake. The emotional impact of this is very significant. The loss of strength in the legs is not just physical. It affects self-esteem, the feeling of independence, confidence. When we start to depend on others to get up, to walk, to leave the house, it directly affects our sense of worth, of freedom. And this is very difficult to accept, especially for those who have always been active, autonomous, independent. Mrs. Rose, for example, was deeply shaken. She began to feel useless, as if she had done something wrong. But over time she understood that the mistake was not hers. It was the lack of clear information, the correct guidance. And it was precisely this that motivated her to seek help, understand what her body really needed, and start over the right way. And this is exactly why we are having this conversation here, so that you don't go through this. So that you know that yes, it is possible to regain strength in your legs, confidence when walking, security when moving. There is a solution. And most importantly, it is not something distant, complicated, or expensive. They are simple, safe changes that anyone can start to make. But before talking about them, it is essential that you understand what is behind this loss of strength, because only then will you be able to avoid the mistakes that so many people make. There is an important detail that we cannot forget. When we talk about loss of strength in the legs, we are not just talking about discomfort. We are talking about a real risk. With each fall, the chance of fractures, hospitalizations, and permanent loss of mobility increases. It's something that can completely change a person's life. But the good news is that most of these situations can be avoided with the right information, the right care, and the right adjustments to your routine. And that's why I want you to stay with me until the end of this video. Because in the end, I'm going to show you what really works, what has already helped thousands of elderly people regain strength in their legs, walk with confidence again, and live an active and happy life. It's not magic. It's science, practical experience, and care. Everything explained in a simple, straightforward way, so you can apply it in your home at your own pace. I know that sometimes you feel like it's all lost, that there's no way out. But I'm here to tell you that there is a way, that you can regain your strength, your confidence, your balance. You just need the right path. And that path begins with information. So, now that you understand that the problem may not be your age or your effort, but rather some choices that seem correct, but are actually harming you, in the next section, we'll delve deeper into this. We'll talk about which vitamins may be weakening your legs, how they act in your body, and why so many elderly people end up falling into this trap without realizing it. You'll discover the most common mistakes behind the loss of muscle strength and how to avoid them. Many people go through this and make these mistakes without even realizing it. But don't worry, because there is a solution, and we'll walk together towards it. Have you ever stopped to think that something you take every day, thinking it's helping your health, could be doing the exact opposite? In the first section, we talked about the loss of strength in the legs and how it may be related to the use of certain vitamins. Now it's time to better understand why this happens, how these substances act in the body, and mainly, what common mistakes are behind this situation. When we talk about vitamins, the first thing that comes to mind is health. After all, since we were little, we've heard that vitamins are good for you, that they strengthen the body, that they prevent diseases, and it's true, they are essential for the body's functioning. But as with everything in life, balance is what makes the difference. The problem lies in excess or improper use, especially when done on one's own. In the case of the elderly, this becomes even more delicate. With aging, the body goes through natural changes. The metabolism slows down, nutrient absorption changes, and sensitivity to nutritional imbalances increases. This means that what the body tolerated well at 40 or 50 years old can be harmful at 70 or 80. Let's take as an example 3 very popular vitamins: vitamin E, vitamin D, and calcium. Under normal conditions, they all have important functions in the body. Vitamin D helps with calcium absorption and strengthens bones. Vitamin E has an antioxidant effect, protecting cells. Calcium, in turn, is essential for bone structure and muscle contraction. But in excess, or when taken without necessity, these supplements can cause significant imbalances. Vitamin D, for example, when consumed beyond what is necessary, can lead to an accumulation of calcium in the blood. This affects the kidneys, impairs the heart, and interferes with muscle function. Vitamin E, when taken in high doses for long periods, can interfere with blood clotting and neuromuscular functioning. Calcium, on the other hand, if in excess in the body without proper control, can deposit where it shouldn't, in the joints, in the kidneys, and hinder muscle contraction, causing weakness, cramps, and imbalance. Furthermore, many elderly people take continuous medications for blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes, or other chronic conditions. These medications interact with vitamins. A seemingly harmless supplement can reduce the effect of an essential medicine or intensify its side effects. That's why it's critical that everything taken, even vitamins, is monitored by a healthcare professional. But what we mostly see is the opposite. And this isn't out of malice, but due to a lack of guidance. Many people start taking vitamins because they heard it from a friend, saw it on the internet, or read it on a pharmacy label. Others mix various different capsules, believing that the more, the better. And there are even those who buy ready-made formulas that promise more energy, more vitality, more youth, without any idea of what they contain and how they will react in their body. These habits are much more common than one might imagine. There are people who take vitamin D, vitamin E, calcium, magnesium, and collagen capsules all at the same time, without any prior evaluation. And then they start to feel the effects on their body: fatigue, weak legs, loss of balance, joint pain, and often they don't even suspect that the problem may be coming precisely from the excess of care. Let's revisit the story of Mrs. Rose, which we mentioned in the first block. Remember that she had always been active, but she started to feel her legs were weak, felt insecure when walking, and everything kept getting worse over time. Well, during her consultation with the geriatrician, she mentioned that she was taking 2 supplements on her own: a vitamin complex with high doses of vitamins E and D, and an effervescent calcium supplement she saw advertised on TV. It seemed like a healthy routine, but it wasn't what her body needed. The doctor ordered tests and discovered that her vitamin D levels were much higher than ideal. Her blood calcium levels were also altered. This was interfering with muscle contraction and directly affecting strength in the legs. The excess of vitamin E was also pointed out as a possible cause of neuromuscular imbalance. Her body was trying to compensate for the excesses, and the result was exactly the opposite of what she wanted: more weakness, more insecurity, less vitality. She was surprised. She said she just wanted to feel better, stronger. And that's what happens to a lot of people. The intention is good. What's missing is information, lack of safe and individualized guidance. Because what works for one person may not work for another. Each body has a different history, need, and response. Another important point that many people ignore is that loss of muscle strength doesn't happen overnight. It settles in slowly, almost silently. First, a stumble here, a difficulty getting up there. Then, the half-hour walk turns into 10 minutes. And when the person realizes it, they're already avoiding leaving the house, afraid of falling. This affects mood, disposition, and self-esteem. Loss of muscle mass in the legs is one of the first warning signs, and when this happens because of an imbalance caused by supplements, the situation is even more frustrating. Because the person believes they are taking care of themselves, when in fact they are aggravating the problem. And it doesn't stop there. When leg strength decreases, the risk of falls increases. And falls, as you already know, can be extremely dangerous. Hip fractures, spinal injuries, long hospitalizations, loss of mobility. Sometimes a fall completely changes the life of an elderly person. And many of these falls start exactly with a simple weakness that could have been avoided. But I want to reinforce something very important here. All of this has a solution. Even when the symptoms have already started to appear, it is possible to reverse this situation. Strength can be recovered, balance can be restored, confidence can return. All it takes is understanding the root of the problem and acting in the right way. And the truth is, with small changes, everything starts to improve. But before talking about what really works, we need to know what should be avoided. So pay close attention to the most common mistakes. First, don't take vitamins without medical guidance, even if they seem harmless, even if they are natural. Everything needs to be evaluated. Second, don't mix various different supplements on your own. This can lead to dangerous interactions. Third, don't follow fads or internet formulas. What works for one person can be harmful to another. Fourth, don't believe that more is always better. Sometimes what's missing is precisely stopping taking something and not adding another pill to the routine. Fifth, don't ignore the body's signals. Weakness in the legs, dizziness, constant fatigue. All of this deserves attention. And finally, don't fail to seek professional help. Doctors, nutritionists, and physiotherapists are precious allies on this journey. Many people go through this and make these mistakes without realizing it. But calm down, because in the next block, we'll talk about what really works and what has already helped thousands of people like you. We'll show practical, accessible, and safe solutions. And most importantly, we'll show how small changes can bring big results. You'll see that regaining your strength is possible. That walking with firmness, confidence, and freedom is within your reach. So keep going with me, because now we're going to start building this path back to vitality. You deserve to live with more lightness, security, and joy. And this begins in the next block. Shall we go together? Now that you've understood what might be behind the weakness in your legs and the most common mistakes that aggravate this problem, it's time to turn the key. This is the moment when we start to change the course of history. The good news is that regaining strength, balance, and autonomy is totally possible. And this doesn't require major transformations or radical changes. Everything starts with small attitudes, conscious decisions, and above all, with the right knowledge. This is what we will build together from now on. Now tell me here in the comments, have you already tried any of these solutions or identified with any part of the story? I want to know how you are dealing with all this, because it is often in the stories that we find strength, motivation, and ideas that can inspire others to take better care of themselves as well. The first essential step to regain strength in your legs is to seek individualized professional support. I know that many still resist seeking guidance, preferring to rely on tips from acquaintances, quick solutions, or what is written on the packaging. But each person's body is unique. What works for one person may be exactly what another needs to avoid. And only with exams is it possible to understand what your body is really asking for. Ideally, you should have a complete evaluation with a doctor, preferably a geriatrician who understands the specific health needs of the elderly. Then, a nutritionist can guide you based on these results, indicating what needs to be supplemented, if anything, and what should be cut out. Often simply adjusting the doses or removing an unnecessary vitamin brings immediate relief and improves muscle function. It is very common to discover, for example, that the body already has adequate levels of vitamin D or calcium, and that an excess of these substances is causing imbalances. And as we explained in the previous section, these excesses can affect muscle function, cause fatigue, cramps, tremors, and even compromise the proper contraction of the legs. The good news is that by identifying this in time and making the right adjustments, the body responds. And it responds quickly. So if you're taking supplements without monitoring, this is the time to rethink and seek help to do it the right way. If this made sense to you, share it with someone who also needs this information. It can make all the difference. Sometimes, a simple video can prevent a fall, a fracture, or even hospitalization. The right information at the right time can change the course of a life. And everyone knows someone who is going through something similar without understanding why they are losing strength, balance, or energy. Share this with those you love. The second powerful and effective action to strengthen your legs is to adjust your diet, focusing on natural sources of protein. Muscles need to be fed, and the best way to do this is with foods that deliver nutrients in a balanced way and that the body easily recognizes. Many elderly people do not consume enough protein throughout the day, which leads to loss of muscle mass. But this situation is reversible. Include eggs at breakfast, which are rich in protein and very convenient. At lunch, favor lean meats, beans, lentils, fish, or chicken, which are excellent sources of muscle energy. In the afternoon, a plain yogurt can be a great option, with the added benefit of aiding intestinal health. And at night, even with a lighter meal, it's possible to include protein sources such as soups with shredded meat, vegetable broths, and boiled eggs. It doesn't have to be a complicated diet. In fact, the simpler and more natural, the better. The important thing is to maintain regularity. Avoid skipping meals and stay well hydrated. The body needs quality fuel every day, and with a balanced diet, strength in the legs will naturally start to return. In a short time, you'll begin to feel more firmness, more energy, and more confidence in your movements. Now let's move on to the third attitude that complements this recovery process: movement. It's common that, with weakness in the legs, fear of moving also comes. But it is precisely movement, done with care and guidance, that will restore the firmness and security you need so much. Inactivity, on the contrary, only further weakens you. That's why moving, even a little bit every day, is an excellent start. You can start with simple exercises, like sitting and standing up from a chair without using your hands. This exercise simulates an action we do several times a day, and it's a great way to strengthen your thighs and hips. Start with a few slow and safe repetitions, and increase as you gain confidence. Walking is also a great ally. If you can go out for a walk around the block or in the backyard, even for 10 to 15 minutes, you're already doing a lot for your body. And if you feel any insecurity, seek the help of a physiotherapist. Many professionals offer personalized plans focusing on strengthening the legs, balance, and fall prevention. These exercises help the body regain control, firmness, and autonomy. Mrs. Rose, whom we talked about in previous segments, is an example of this. After she stopped taking the supplements that were harming her body, she underwent a medical re-evaluation and, with the support of a nutritionist, completely adjusted her diet. She started incorporating more protein into her meals and reduced processed foods. Additionally, with the help of a physiotherapist neighbor, she began a light exercise plan at home. Over time, her legs regained strength. She was able to do simple things again that she had set aside: climbing stairs, strolling in the market, tending to the garden. More than that, she regained confidence in her own body. And when confidence returns, everything changes. The mind strengthens, the energy reappears, and the desire to live is reborn. She herself said that she didn't know how much all of that was affecting her emotionally until she felt the pleasure of walking with firmness again. This transformation is not exclusive to Mrs. Rose. It is possible for anyone who is willing to take the first step. Therefore, if you're experiencing something similar, know that there is a path, and it begins with information, goes through conscious choice, and arrives at practical action. If you like content like this, click like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell to receive more health and well-being tips. Here we speak simply, with care, about what really matters: living well, with autonomy, joy, and quality. So let's recap together the 3 pillars that support the recovery of strength in the legs. The first is professional follow-up. Never take supplements without guidance. A simple exam can prevent months of wear, weakness, and risk of falls. The second is nutrition. Invest in quality protein with simple and homemade meals that nourish your muscles with everything they need. And the third is movement. Even if it's a little bit every day, with care and respect for your pace, it will be the key to regaining control of your body. And don't forget to check the link in the description for more guidance to help you on this health journey. There you will find a complete material with more details about each of these solutions, lists of recommended foods, videos with simple exercises, and everything that can complement what you learned here. The truth is that it's never too late to regain your strength, your balance, and your freedom to come and go. It doesn't matter if you're 60, 70, 80, or older. The body has an incredible capacity to regenerate, to adapt, to respond when it is treated with care and respect. And it all starts with a choice. The choice not to conform. The choice to take care of yourself. The choice to live better. You deserve to feel strong, confident, and happy. You deserve to get out of bed with assurance, walk with serenity, and enjoy life with lightness. And this doesn't require perfection. It requires consistency. With small actions, day after day, you can achieve this. It's not about going back to how it was before. It's about building a new way of living with more awareness, more health, and more autonomy. Take care of your legs, because they take you to what is most precious: your freedom. The freedom to go, to come, to hug, to walk, to live fully. And this freedom is within your reach. It starts inside you and is strengthened with every choice you make. Let's move forward. You are not alone on this journey. We are together, and the best is yet to come.